That means a absolute bag of cheese. Like, it really is. Like, like, what does that mean? Like,
hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Racing YouTube channel. We're back with our review of the Cheltenham November meeting, a very tough Cheltenham November meeting, and we're going to be previewing 3 very decent meetings from Ascot, from Haydock at the weekend, as well as 2 Grade 1s at Punchestown. But we've got back from 3 days at Cheltenham. How are you feeling after the 3 days?
Yeah, well, it was still a very enjoyable experience. It was tough from a punting perspective. Friday was tough from a kind of morals perspective, almost going into that rain, but it was still extremely good fun and great to see plenty of people over the couple of days. We met some brilliant people over those few days, whether it be if you saw Josh or I out on Saturday night. I'd like to apologise for anything I may have said or done, but we really do enjoy and appreciate all the support. And we're only 8 subscribers away from 21,000.
That's very good.
That's excellent.
We're very, very close. Can we do that this week?
I would like to hope so. So that is obviously our target. We'd like to also hit 500 likes on this video. So make sure to hit that like button down below. So good to spend so much time at Cheltenham, and great to meet so many of you as well. I met lots of first-time Cheltenham members, which was really rewarding. Plenty of you making use of the £30 off through the Let's Talk Racing link a couple of weeks ago. And if we're being completely honest, the value out of the membership has possibly dwindled a little bit because we've had the October meeting and the November meeting. But for those that don't know, RACEPASS exists. It's completely free to sign up to. We are working with the Jockey Club and the Cheltenham team, but it's completely free to sign up to for 18 to 24-year-olds. And you basically get half-price tickets to over 340 meetings across loads of different race courses, including the Cheltenham Festival. So if you're struggling to see the value in buying the membership now, which there's still a little bit of membership if you're little bit of value if you're considering going to the Cheltenham Festival for all 4 days, but if not, check out RacePass. We'll put it in the description. It's free to sign up to. There's nothing to lose, and you can get half-price tickets if you're 18 to 24. Another good initiative that the Jockey Club are doing to get young people racing, and that is what is important. Right. Let's crack on with performances of note from the Cheltenham November meeting. We're going to start on the Friday, and we're going to start with the Schlur, because Lurda Sud absolutely slammed John Bon. What did you think? Yeah, well, I said Lurda Sud had no chance pretty much, and that he's going to encounter a very tough season. He certainly put that to bed pretty quickly. Dan Skelton, I think, came out and pretty much said that he was well and truly ready for the day. John Bon, like at this stage, I wouldn't even put that run down to a Cheltenham thing, actually.
It was just flat, wasn't it?
It was just flat, and I don't know whether maybe just a little bit older, whether he needs the run these days. Obviously, the Tingle Creek in a few weeks' time, I'm sure he'll go there. I'm sure he'll improve from that run. But this Tingle Creek's almost becoming like D-Day for John Bon here, because if he runs a poor race in that, you'd struggle to see how he's going to win a Grade 1 ever again.
Do you think he'll win it?
I don't think he's out of the reckoning,
no.
Just because of his Sandown record, and a little bit of nicer ground potentially might help him, but I don't know, it was a listless performance. He was beaten a long way out.
It was interesting to see the Tingle Creek entries. We've got Elite Thompson at the top of the market, which is understandable. Lurda Sud second in, or I think John Bon second in. I think there might be joint second in. And that's understandable because he was so good in the Schlur. We've even got Only by Night in the entries, which is a fascinating runner, getting the weight. For me, I still think that we should give John Bon the benefit of the doubt. He's not excellent around Cheltenham. He is so good at Sandown, especially this time of year. And I just feel that maybe this year, in comparison to last year, Nicky was trying to warm him up. He didn't seem that downbeat. He was beaten so convincingly. No, he didn't, and plenty of Nickies do seemingly need the run just at this moment in time, and an awful lot of Nicky Henderson's horses. You see a meeting like what took place on Friday, the way the rain got into the ground, the way it was lashing rain. You don't really associate Nicky Henderson horses with those conditions. I'm not saying I'm saying
not
they're soft. You are.
Well, a little bit. I'm not trying to kind of put too much I'm not trying to take away from Lotus Hood either, but it ended up being a bit of a nothing race. Liberty Hunter fell. John Bond didn't really run a race.
That being said, Lotus Hood was brilliant.
Oh, he's absolutely superb. He jumped fantastically. It was back to what he was like at the November meeting last year when he beat Lookaway, and he was absolutely wow that day. And I'm sure he has a huge chance in the Tingle Creek. I would say I will stand by the fact that as the season progresses, it will get harder and harder.
I think that they're going to run in the Tingle Creek, and then that'll be it until the festival.
Okay.
I think Skelton probably had him ready enough because they weren't sure what he was going to be. Was he going to be one after Aintree especially that was just going to struggle in open company? So I think Skelton looked at it and said, look, there's probably 2 races that we can really win this year, and that is the Schlur if we're absolutely ready, and John Bond's possibly not as ready as us, and maybe the Game Spirit.
Yep.
You could even take in a Desert Orchid and carry top weight and a handicap along the way. I think Dan was probably looking at him going, he's probably not going to be good enough to win a Grade 1 this year. But the way that he won was so good. He's entitled to go to the Tingle Creek. I suspect they're going to try and keep him fresh after that and go to the Champion Chase. I don't think he's going to win a Champion Chase, but he's definitely a contender.
Yep, I can understand.
On Friday, we also had No Drama This End on chasing debut. On hurdling debut, winning the Grade 2 Albert Bartlett novice hurdle, which I think there should be a ban personally on novice hurdles, graded novice hurdles called the Albert Bartlett that are ran over anything but 3 miles. But No Drama This End was so good.
Yeah, he just travelled through the race with consummate ease. He was the first horse, I think, to win a graded race at Cheltenham, first time up since 2010. So that's telling you all you need to know, that everything was against him on Friday. The stats were against him. His lack of experience was against him. But he jumped well, and he's just one of those horses. It's so nice when Harry Cobden's exuding confidence on a good horse, and you're coming down to the last going, oh dear.
I could tell as well, watching the race with you, that you completely echoed Paul Nicholls' thoughts and you just thought he was Denman 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. And not like Paul to get over the top or, like, what is he doing? Like, I understand you were talking to him yesterday down in Newbury and he was saying sometimes he kind of gets cajoled into making those sort of statements. But you've got a horse that's won a lovely race on hurdling debut. He does have the world at his feet, but there's just no need to come out and say he's a Gold Cup horse. There is physically zero need. And yet it's like it's his reaction to everything. Horse wins, novice hurdle. Well, this is Denman.
It was really interesting speaking to him because, I mean, I wanted to ask him that question myself because I felt deep down that you're putting
undue
just
expectation,
needless pressure. Especially when, and I think Paul will happily admit that things aren't going the way that Paul has in his head. He's an extremely proud trainer. He's a very good trainer. We don't need to explain how good Paul Nicholls is.
Yeah.
He's trained absolute champions, including Denman. But when he's got a time in his yard at the moment, it's a difficult period. There aren't superstars coming out left, right and centre. There's not a superstar in every box. When you get one that wins like that, yes, say that you're going to go to the shallow hurdle, but don't say he's the next Denman. There's just no need. Just say he's really, really good. We're looking forward to seeing what he does next.
Yeah, exactly. You could even say your next stop will run in the Challow, and you'd go, oh, fair enough.
I've got a lot of time for Paul, so next time that something like that happens, I'm going to try and stand behind the ITV or Racing TV cameras and say, just no Denman, no Denman, no Cortez, no Denman.
Cards.
Yeah. No, he was having fun with it yesterday, and I think he saw the light side of it. On Saturday, we had 2 notable performances. July Flower was good in the Arkle.
Yeah, she was. I thought this was actually a really good little race.
Really?
In the end. I know on paper it didn't look it. I wasn't overly enthused going into the race. Ended up actually, awful after timing, but I did end up on July Flower just because I wasn't fancying anything else. But I just got the impression Be Aware was just off for his life.
Yeah.
Jump Super was ridden in an aggressive way, a little bit like Skelton has done on some of those races at Exeter and stuff like that, where they haven't come back, and she still managed to beat him.
So is this suggesting that July Flower is going to be good enough to, say, feature in an Arkle come March, or is, because she's not going to stop, should be a right contender in the Mayor's Chase as well?
Yeah, exactly. Henry de Bromhead seemingly was shifting towards the Arkle, which would on paper seemingly be the harder option. And I'm not saying she's up to, the likes of Kopek, to Bordes and Lulamba, who we're going to mention later, but I think she's the type of horse. It would not surprise me in the slightest if she was to come second or third in an Arkle.
No, I think she was very, very good as well. A Panic Attack, a vintage renewal of the Paddy Power Gold Cup.
Well, I think the only thing I did get right on this podcast last week is describing my feelings and Conyers Hill's run, where it was all going so well. The heart rate was beginning to rise. It was rising even more and even more. And then the exact same thing happens. And it's just like you're kind of hoping that one day it won't happen.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah, I was watching that race about 3 metres left of you, and I must admit my eyes were more drawn to your reaction, especially when Conyers Hill turned round for home. Because I think like you love the Paul Nolan stable, much like I love the Paul Nicholls stable or Ollie Murphy stable, and it's not necessarily like a punting point of view. I know that backing Paul Nolan, Ollie Murphy, Paul Nicholls blind, you won't make millions at all. But it's a tribal thing almost.
I would consider it's the closest thing to following your football team.
Yeah.
Like where I don't need at times to have money on Paul Nolan horses to still want them to win.
Yeah, of course.
And I just thought, he ran a very creditable race. It wasn't a very good Paddy Power, but it was that moment where they went past the bypass second last. I was like, holy smokes.
Going back to the winner, what did you think?
Yeah, look, she was good. Skelton's doing fantastically with these big races this season. He's getting all of the big pots in the bag. Like, it's fantastic how, with some of those novice hurdlers, they're clearly not kind of ready first run whatsoever, and yet all the horses that are running in those big races with big pots are ready. I think he was hinting at the Coral Gold Cup. Now, by the sounds of it, he's more going down the line of running her in kind of listed and graded mares races. I'm sure she'll end up back in the Mares Chase. I thought she'd come up short in something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, Dan Skelton, hats off to him. He is absolutely flying, and everything seems so thought through.
Yeah,
like he seems so self-aware at what he's got. Like, for instance, I'm not saying that Paul Nicholls isn't, but Dan Skelton, when he's got a winning novice hurdler, isn't going, this is the next Nube Negra, this is the next Protectorate.
Yeah.
Like Paul is. He's going, no, we'll take it steady.
Yeah.
We're going to find the right prizes, and he's been so good at getting them right for the big day. So Dan Skelton's going to take a lot of pegging back in the British Trainers' Championship. And that race, I mean, I took Hojo Holy Smoke from it again.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure he's in love with the Cheltenham Hill. I think he did finish up it better than he did on his first start over further. I think they're going to go to the December Gold Cup.
Yeah, and Dan was mentioning that I think because it's obviously on the new course,
yes,
he thought the new course would suit him better.
Yeah, I think wherever the day is, there will be a day with him.
Yeah, it's not for us to know really. If Dan Skelton believes the new course is better for him, then I'm sure it will be.
He is borderline going to become a cliff horse though at this point, because I know there's a big day in him. If he was to turn up in
I think that was a bit harsh considering how he didn't get the gaps this time, right? He'd have been a very good second otherwise.
I'm not saying that he's a cliff horse because he's not genuine or he's not going to win and he's always going to come short. I'm saying that there's going to be a day,
but and
I'm just going to have to keep backing him until the day comes.
Yeah, but it will happen.
It will happen. And then the final one we need to mention is in the Greatwood. Alexi won very nicely.
Yeah, very, very nicely indeed. Only caveat, I suppose, was the race slightly fell apart, but he absolutely bolted in. That form from the start of the year in the Welsh Champion Hurdle seemingly is very hot, and he's done nothing but improve. And I don't know where you'd go with them next, but I suppose it's very close to running in graded races.
Yeah, they're going to go to the Ladbroke at Ascot before Christmas, and then maybe even onto the Betfair Hurdle. So they're still thinking handicaps with him.
Yeah, if you won the Ladbroke at Christmas, you can't be running the Betfair.
No, you're probably running the International, don't you?
Yeah, you'd run either in the International or the Kingwell or something.
This is a public apology for anyone that listened to any of my thoughts on the Cheltenham November meeting. I didn't even hit the post.
No, it was tricky.
You told me No Drama This End wouldn't win. I was quite warm on him, but not really.
Yeah. I think the absolute killer was that for weeks and weeks and weeks you've been banging on about Lavender Hill Mob, and
no,
I just couldn't have him winning any type of handicap.
So just for context, because it wasn't included in the last video, the reason why I didn't mention Lavender Hill Mob in the last video is because Andrew about half an hour before went, "What are you on about?
Yeah, but however,
what are you? That horse is not going to win."
Yeah, but you love saying these things, and yet half an hour before the Cheltenham video, you were like, "I think this thing wins the Boodles," and I went, "No."
But you
don't mention them when they come 15th or 20th.
But when they dot it at 33s or whatever it was, I've got to mention it then. So blame Andrew for that. But we had 3 extremely chasing debuts over the last few days. The first one was on Sunday. That was Final Demand. The second one was on Monday. That was Lulamba. And then about an hour later, we had Kopek de Bordes. My goodness, we were treated, weren't we?
Yeah, you wouldn't mind any of the 3 of them now.
Which one would you want the most?
A question was actually asked of me in the relatively late hours of one of the mornings or one of the evenings, which actually I took home as relatively thought-provoking. And I know this is complete hyperbole.
Yeah.
Where would you think Final Demand would come in the Gold Cup this year?
I think it'd be top 3.
Yeah. See, this is it. I was like, genuinely, this is quite a thought-provoking question.
We might be really annoying plenty of people going, "Oh, come on, lads, he's had one run in the beginner's chase."
Oh, no, and I'm completely understood. That's why I'm saying hyperbole. But I just think the way he jumped around, the way he just acts, like this is very much next year's Gold Cup horse.
It is, yeah.
And it will come at a great time because, to be honest, at that stage, Galvin Deschamps will probably be walking into the sunset.
Comes at a perfect time. He is so good.
He's a brilliant horse.
He's going to take the world of stopping in the 3-mile race this year. And I suppose that's going to be the big question. We probably both expect him to go and win maybe at Christmas or maybe in the Flowgas at the Dublin Racing Festival. But the one thing that I think you had a little bit of a query about, is he a Cheltenham horse? Maybe he wasn't as good in the Turners last year as he was before then. We're going to find out.
Well, this is it.
If he can tick that box, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. But I suppose the only, and I'm not saying he ran as badly as that horse did in the Supreme, but there was the year where Mighty Potter went to the 2.5-mile novice chase. He'd been so impressive in everything in Ireland, and then he turned up and he didn't turn up again at Cheltenham. It'd be the only caveat, because realistically he's going to be a short price. He'll probably be odds on the day, and that's the only thing that's probably going to get him beat.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to him, and I'm very proud as well, because I feel like I was one of the first to mention Final Demand even before his hurdles run on debut at Limerick. So I feel like I've done something, at least one thing decent over the last few years. Lulamba.
I thought he was excellent. Lulamba's a horse that people are kind of like to throw stones at. I don't really know why. I think it's possibly this case of everyone just wants something that looks like Sergino. And I do look at it. I'm not saying he's a Sergino. I'm not saying he's a Sprinter Sacra. And I'm not saying he's an Altior or a Shishkin. But the Altiors and Shishkins of the world did go through the majority of their career running over 2 miles, looking like they needed further than 2 miles. I don't think the horse is that short of speed.
No,
people would make it out like he should be running in the second national chase.
Well, I found interesting, in comparison to the horses that you mentioned there, is even straight after the run, and this is never a thing that Nico de Boinville or Nicky Henderson do, is they did mention going up in trip.
Yeah.
From a point of view, like when Shishkin went on chasing debut, when Altior went on chasing debut, never in a million years where they've gone, oh yeah, we're going to go up in trip. So I did think it was interesting, and I think I saw some jump stats. I think he's a good jumper, he's economical, but he's not very quick.
Yeah, no, but that's where you're reading the race IQ stats where he's got a jump index to 6. That means a absolute bag of cheese. Like, it really is. Like, like, what does that mean? Like, he jumped perfectly well. He's absolutely destroyed Salver on the way round. And yet we're all there punching in the figures, going, that's not good enough.
This is funny on more ways and more levels than one. Obviously, with the Badge Racing TV, we're both in the Racing TV studios now. We love Race IQ.
I think there are some fantastic elements of Race IQ.
You think some of it's also rubbish?
Well, I think the flat stuff is a lot better than the jump stuff.
Okay, I really hope that we still have a job this time next week. Kopek de Bordes was an hour later, and What do you think of him?
I thought he was excellent. He's still keen. He's still a little bit too exuberant at times. But I loved the fact that the more and the quicker they went, his fencing got even better. And almost down the back, they couldn't be going quick enough for him. Like Paul Townend, I think, was trying to keep him all together. But the horse just wants to go fast.
He needs, is it Rouge Fifth?
Yes.
Petit de Mouchoir to go off like
St. Calvados.
St. Calvados, that was it. He needs both of those in the race, ideally. Yeah. Roll back the years.
Yeah, he'd win 100 lengths in that race.
Absolutely. Looking forward to talking about those three on Road to Cheltenham this week, the day that you're watching this later on. And I think it's fair to say the Road to Cheltenham crowd like me a little bit less than the Let's Talk Racing crowd.
Yeah, well, some people, Josh, they don't like change.
They don't like change,
and that's and some people, unfortunately, for one reason or another, think that we have poles stuck up our own arses.
Yeah, I got a bit of battering last week, and I
thought you were great.
I thought it was good fun. I do just want to clarify as well, because I can do that on this podcast because it's our podcast. No one else is going to listen to it. That my role on Road to Cheltenham this year, for those that watch both of them, I'm not at all going to be on the programme talking about horses. My job is genuinely as simple as reading questions out to Lydia and Ruby. So for previous seasons, Lydia has asked a question to Ruby. We wanted to make it more conversational. We wanted to include Lydia more, and therefore they've got me on just to read the questions out. Last week was a bit different because Lydia asked me what I thought on Magborough, and I was like, I'm stood next to Ruby. Well, you can't ask me this. Don't worry too much. I'm going to be a minimal factor in the Road to Cheltenham rather than a big one. And there were plenty of people on X that let me know that they wanted that or wanted me gone completely. Yeah. It happens.
This X is clueless.
Yeah, I know. But there was also plenty of people that thought it was really good. So thank you to those as well. I'm going to listen to those more than the others.
Yeah, rightly so.
Right, let's move on to this weekend's racing. We're going to make this really quick fire because A, we can't tip a wheelbarrow, and B, we've already bored you enough with our thoughts on the Cheltenham November meeting. But we're going to talk about Haydock first. The first race, this is funny that we're going to talk about this because I just want to talk about how ridiculous it is that this race is going on, and that's the graduation chase of a 2 mile 5 furlongs.
So this is your rant. So I've just had a rant and you're going to...
You've had a rant. So I'm looking at the horses that are entered, and some of them are going to go elsewhere. We don't know exactly where they're going to go. Gidley Park, I think, is going to Ascot. But let me just talk you through the first 4 in the market of a graduation chase. The same weekend that we've got a Grade 2 over the same distance at Ascot, and we've got the Grade 1 Betfair Chase 2 hours after, an hour after. Right, the 150 graduation chase. The Jukebox Man, he's had 2 starts over fences. He won the John Frankham and the Corto Star. He's won a Grade 1.
And a Grade 2.
Why does he need to? What does he need to graduate from?
Grade 1s.
Django Bai won the Arkle. He won the Arkle. He's had 4 runs over fences and won the Arkle.
Yep.
Iroko, 8 runs over fences. He's won 1. He finished second in this race last year and finished 4th in the Grand National. Gidley Park, again, multiple runs over fences, won a Grade 2 last year. Now, personally, I think maybe graduation chases have a place in the calendar. I think there'll be some people that disagree. I don't think it has a place in the calendar when you're taking... Like, if those 4 horses were running elsewhere, Gidley Park is going to run elsewhere, but if the Jukebox Man was in either Ascot or the Betfair Chase, he'd enhance that race. If Django Bai was running in the 2-5 race at Ascot, it'd be brilliant. If Iroko was running in the Betfair Chase or the 2-5 race at Ascot, he'd be a player.
Yep.
People talk about having little competition. Having races like this is the reason why.
Yeah, I can completely understand. We've now been crossed off the BHA Christmas list.
Well,
alongside the race like you, powers that be.
But I just think, like, in a time where we're scratching around for runners and something like the Betfair Chase, like, growing up, I used to be absolutely buzzed by the Betfair Chase, the cue cards, the Silvagnaco Contis.
Well, one of our colleagues here, Lily, has made a Betfair Chase promo, and you're just looking back through the entirety of these races going on and horses and 3 chairs in the stands and stuff like that. And I'm not saying the Betfair is not going to be a good race this year, but it should have 3 or 4 more runners in it.
It should definitely. we're going to talk about the race because we have to, but the Jukebox Man versus Django Bay. Django Bay could also go to Ascot. Rocco's probably going to go here. Gede Park's going to go to Ascot. So it's probably going to be a relatively small field where the Jukebox Man's going to be short price favourite. Look, I understand from Ben Pauling's point of view, you want to find an easy target for his return. It's arguably the best horse in his yard. I can completely understand. And benefit of the doubt, he's only had 2 runs of offences, whether that was in a Grade 1 or a Grade 2.
No, you've got to have the courage of your convictions. He's won the Corso Star, and he's running in a graduation chase, which is a glorified novice.
Okay, do you want to strike against the BHA and just not talk about it?
No, like I'm just.
I
don't think there's a whole pile to discuss. I think the Jukebox Man will win. I'll be there thinking he should have been running at Ascot.
The following race that we're going to talk about is the Betfair Handicap Hurdle over 3 miles. Betfair Stayers Handicap Hurdle, and Marchand 2, who won the Potemps qualifier at the October meeting, is favourite. Ace of Spades, who won at Aintree on his return, when apparently that could have been a prep run. Interesting. Horace's Pearl making his return. Hartington won up at Carlisle. Julie Machan for the Dan Skelton team. He was quite warm on him. I saw an interview that was done by Ash Simmons, and Dan had a bit of a smile. Looking forward to seeing him run. He's definitely. But 2 Skelton darts. It's a big field. Marchand 2, 92 favourite. Is that a price that you're willing to get stuck into? I know you love Emma Lavelle horses.
Yeah, I do quite like Emma Lavelle horses, and I do like Marchand too. I think 92 is a little bit on the short side, especially considering you have got 2 relatively decent bullets, as you've mentioned, from the Skelton yard that at the moment can do no wrong.
That being said, he was mightily good at Cheltenham, and was he put up £6 or £8? I can't remember. I think it was 6. It's quite lenient, that.
It was quite lenient. The only caveat I have is Emma Lavelle is quite a streak trainer, and at that time at the October meeting, everything she ran was winning. As for it's been a little bit, November hasn't been quite as successful. I'm sure back in December they'll all be winning again. So that would be the only caveat for me. I landed on Ace of Spades myself. I thought, considering all the vibes were that he'd need the run at Aintree, to beat Moonbow, who was a summer fit horse, a progressive horse in his own right, was a decent piece of form over 2.5 miles. I think 3 miles will suit him. I just think Joy Marchand does need decent ground. I'm not sure it's going to be quite as decent as he perhaps needs it. There is rain around. So I thought Ace of Spades, Harry Skelton jocked on him. I thought he was the one to be on.
I hope it's Marchand too, because he's got a very similar profile at this stage of his career to Paisley Park.
He does.
They both finished down the field in a Albert Bartlett, and then they both went on a streak, winning through handicaps, and went into graded company. So I suppose if he was to win here, he'd have to go that way at some point, maybe a Cleve Hurdle or something like that. But it's a big if. It's a 92 chance. Following that, we've got the 3 mile Betfair Chase, the Grade 1. Grey Dawning, coming back for redemption, Haiti Couleurs, Handstands, Royal Pagaille, Stella Story, Hitman, Marsh Wren. We're not exactly sure if all of them run, but I think a good few of them will. And Grey Dawning definitely will if he's safe and sound. Is the Betfair Chase a task that you think will suit or not suit Haiti Couleurs?
I think Haiti Couleurs is a very hard horse to get a handle on. I think just his amount of progression is just very hard to realise just how much there's left. I was so surprised and impressed with how he won his hurdle race. I know it was only a Potemps handicap hurdle, but it was off 145. And like I was in Rebecca Curtis's a week prior, and there was no stone unturned the fact that he was only 75-80% fit. So I think this is the only thing that would be the caveat for me, is that I think the original plan was the Coral Gold Cup, and I think they've kind of seen the Grade 1 and they've gone, let's roll the dice. I like them for it. I like the fact that they're going to roll the dice.
But
I find this very hard, because I think if you were to name my top 5 UK trained horses that I enjoy and really like, I think Grey Dawning and Haiti Couleurs would be 2 of the 5.
How does it go? Samina,
Haiti Couleurs.
Midnight Tiff is so good. Which made a return on Friday.
It did, yeah. I would say Grey Dawning will have too much class for him. That would be my original gut.
That's going to hurt watching him win. I agree with you. Really fancied him for the race last year, and him not winning despite going 2 lengths up on the eventual winner hurt me. Moving on to Ascot. And we're going to talk about the 2 mile 5 furlong 1965 Chase, where Ile Francais makes his first start for Tom George. Gidley Park should run Pic Dory. likely to run. Django Bai could run. Hartwood entered. Firefox entered. Master Chewy, extremely likely to run. Could be a good race, this.
Very good, yeah. It would really be helped by the fact that
if the jukebox man ran.
Exactly. I think it could do with Hartwood coming over.
Yep.
I think Hartwood would take beating if he came over. I know he's in the John Durkan as well. Obviously, they might just stay at home and run in that instead, but that looks incredibly warm. I think if Hartwood doesn't come over, I think it's Pick Dory's to lose, if I'm being honest. Just Ascot's his home games. And I thought he was really good at Wetherby. He was unlucky, considering I didn't think he'd ever stay, and he very close to stayed.
Is there going to be a bit of a pace angle, though? Because Ile Francais is going to go out. Is that going to affect things? I really don't like Ile Francais for this, by the way.
No.
But is that going to be annoying?
Potentially so. And Pick Dory, when he has won at Ascot, has tended to get it pretty free on the front end. He certainly won't get that this time round. Yeah, I'd be with you. I can't. Ile Francais I don't know. He could go and win 20 lengths. That's how much I've got. I kind of know the horse, because every time I begin to even fancy him, he'll run a terrible race.
But he's got a history of bleeding. He's brilliant one day. He's a no-show the next day. He got beat by Aston Martini last year, didn't he? In the French Champion Hurdle, or something like that. In the French something.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good, is it? Yeah, I'd take him on, especially first run for a new trainer. I know that it's father of Noel George, Tom George, but I would want to see it. Gidley Park's an interesting horse.
He is, yeah. Just a horse hard to get a handle on, because he's been injury prone at times, and I'm not sure just how big he is, whether Ascot would suit. But at the same time, Windsor isn't an enormously galloping track, and yet he was fantastic around there.
There's going to be plenty of people behind the camera here that are going to be going, lads, you're overlooking Django Bai for both Haydock or Ascot. Why are we overlooking him? Is that going to bite us in the arse?
No, I don't think we're overlooking him. It's just I find it hard to pin my colours when you don't know what race he's going to run in.
Very true. We've also got a 2 mile, 3.5 furlong Ascot Hurdle Grade 2, and Woodoo is going to run. That's a really, really, really good Irish raider. Potter's Charm, Celtic Dino, Katira. Could be a decent little race, this.
It could, if Woodoo matches all of her form from last year, where she was second to Lossiemouth at Aintree. She won the Martin Pipe at a hack. She should probably win this, to be honest. I think it's a really intriguing race, a race I'm looking forward to if they all stand up. Potter's Charm obviously fell early at Wetherby, still unfinished business for him. And Celtic Dino going up in trip, a horse very close to my heart. So I think I think it's an interesting race, but hard to look past the mare. Is she going to be quite as good this year? Everyone says she will be. It would be interesting to see.
Well, with the news of State Man coming out of the Champion Hurdle, he's out for the season. She was backed into joint favouritism with Lossiemouth for the mares, because people are putting 2 and 2 together. They're thinking Lossiemouth is going to go to the Champion Hurdle, and Woodoo could go then and win a mares hurdle. So it'll be fascinating to see. Punchestown, we're going to talk about 2 Grade 1s. On Saturday, we've got the Morgiana, where Anzadam is a short price favourite to beat Ironsi, William Money, Cargis, a few others in there as well. This is a big day for Anzadam.
It is, and it's no penalty kick by any stretch of the imagination. Ironsi, and I think almost more so for me, Cargis, if she was to run getting the mare's allowance, on the figures, she'd be right there getting the £7. William Money looked like he was going to miss this race. Now he's been left in the race. Don't know whether he'll get entered come tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning. He'd obviously have to have some degree of a chance.
You're never going to have a better chance, are you?
Well, no, I suspect that's what's happened really with Barry. I'd say he was running out of time getting to the Morgiana. In the case of if State Man was there, he was running out of time. But suddenly now it's all hands on deck.
But I agree with you. The Cargis is fascinating, because that county hurdle form is unbelievable. Second in Derby, won the Galway hurdle.
Yep.
Ethical Diamond was there.
Yeah.
Won the Breeders' Cup turf.
Wasn't Cracking Rhapsody down the field? He then won the Scottish Champion Hurdle. I know it was an excellent race, and she absolutely hacked up as well. I think she's... I think a lot of people will be cottoning on to potentially her being a mare's hurdle chance, but it's not beyond the bounds of possibilities come March. The Lossiemouth's still in the mare's hurdle and Cargis is in the Champion Hurdle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think if things go well for her over 2 miles, maybe on Saturday.
I just look at her and I think she is a 2-miler.
Yeah, she's speed. Amsterdam's fascinating because he's got a few things to improve on in the jumping department, but when we spoke to Pierre Boulard, all the vibes from Willys is that he's just a seriously good horse, and he has shown that. But I think we're all in agreement. We're yet to see the very best of him, and hopefully that's on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm hoping, like, of all the horses you want to potentially put on a real show, you know, you'd want it to be Amsterdam, get himself into the picture of the champion hurdle. As I say, I think he's got the ability to do so. Whether he's got the mind to do so is probably the more pertinent question.
But talking of shows, if we don't get one on Saturday, we're going to get one on Sunday, regardless of who wins. The John Durkan is unbelievable. Factor File. Gaelic Warrior, Fast or Sly. I know the way you're thinking, amongst so many others. Wow.
Well, Willie Mullins is running so much, you might even get a ride at this stage. There's around 8 or 9 of them in there, and they're all brilliant horses. This is a fascinating race. Fascinating between Factor File and Gaelic Warrior.
Is it a no bet? Just because there's so many good horses.
Yeah, probably so. And it's just an intriguing race as to what even everyone's going to do in the long term with, you know, as I say, Factor File, Gaelic Warrior, Fast or Slow, all the horses that potentially are building on this towards the King George. I know the way you're thinking. Got well beaten in this last year, progressed with each run. Gavin Cromwell's horse is not running too well at the moment, so it wouldn't surprise me if he got beaten. That wouldn't kind of dispel his chances come March, but it's a fascinating race. I think the market probably has it right. Factor File should probably win it.
Yeah, for 2.5, you'd like to think so.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world, though, if he didn't.
No, I agree. That race does chuck up shock results.
It does, it can do. And, like, Gaelic Warrior is a brilliant horse. If he went to beat Factor File, you couldn't put it past him.
No. I agree. Implications for the King George as well. It's going to be a fascinating watch, fascinating weekend all around. You know what I really think they need? Across both Britain and Ireland, we just need one more 2.5 mile chase that they could split a few more up in.
Yeah. I might get onto Cork on Sunday, say, is there kind of an intermediate chase they could put in.
Grade 3 or a Grade 2.
Yeah, potentially so. And have it capped at horses that can only run in it if they've had 8 runs or more, you know. Won a few times, but it's still a restricted race, so all of that.
We'll be here forever talking about this. We do hope you've enjoyed this video. Do have a look at RacePass. If you're 18 to 24, it's genuinely a no-brainer. There are no downsides to it. It doesn't cost you any money, but you get half-price tickets to so many big days, including some of the Cheltenham Festival. Will be in the first line of the description. Until then, we'll see you soon.